Just wanted to get on here and say that today's election day, and I know most of the people that I know went out and voted early, but if you haven't voted, please go out and vote. It's really important. So if you're registered to vote and you're able to vote, please get out there. I went to several polling locations this morning just to see if anybody was out there that I could interview, and it's empty. It's pretty much empty. Most of my followers I know are from Conroe, so anyone in Conroe that hasn't voted, go out and vote, please. If you don't know where the polling locations are, you can just Google it or DM me and I will send you a link to the page that gives you all the information of all the polling locations in Conroe or Montgomery County. So please get out there and vote. So like I had said, I went to several locations and there wasn't really anybody out there to interview or anything. So instead, as my coverage for this election, I've chosen to do some Zoom interviews with people that I know already went ahead and voted. They voted early, but that's still part of this election. So, it's something. So my first Zoom interview with somebody is going to be at 9:30. So I will be posting that around that time.
Okay. Hello, my name's Josh, at @pizzacookies_chai on Instagram. I like to make cookies, and I don't like Donald Trump.
Okay, so was this your first time voting?
No, not my first time voting. The first time I voted for president was in 2008 for Obama.
Okay, and why do you think it's important to vote this election?
I think it's important to vote this election because we have a fascist as our current president running for re-election and really posturing like he's going to steal the election. So I think it's important that we make the election of his opponent, Joe Biden, undeniable and really kick his ass in the polls. Okay, yeah. Cool. Voting in Chicago is a lot easier, I found. In Illinois, you can register to vote online if you have a Illinois driver's license. Due to the pandemic, I haven't got my Illinois driver's license, so I had to register to vote by mail. But that was super easy. And when I registered to vote by mail, anyone can request a mail-in ballot. So I just requested a mail-in ballot on my voter registration. And my partner, Stephanie, and I both got our mail-in ballots. We filled them out in our living room at our coffee table. And then we have a post office box half a block away from our apartment. So we walk down the street and drop them in the post office box. And if we hadn't done that, we 2 blocks away from our apartment is an early voting location. And early voting happens from October. So voting here is walkable for my apartment, at least in Northside Chicago, and is super simple, and tons of options available. And I think even on election day, the polling place for me is maybe 4 or 5 blocks away. So even if I had waited until today to vote, it would have been super easy. In Texas and Harris County, it was relatively easy, especially now that you can vote at any location countywide in Harris County. That's pretty cool. But I still think that this was probably the easiest voting I've ever had. Not that it's ever necessarily been difficult for me, but also I look the way I look. I'm a white dude, so voting's usually designed to be easy for me.
Thank you for letting me interview you. It was really nice talking to you. Bye.
All right. My name is Alberto Huichapa. I'm a junior public relations major here at the University of Houston. I'm a first-generation Mexican-American. That's who I am.
Is this your first time voting?
No, this isn't the first time I voted. I did vote. The first time I voted was in the 2018 Senate election with Beto and Ted Cruz. That was my first time voting. This is my first presidential election, though, so yeah, that's that. I think it's important to vote just because we've seen how we knew, at least I knew, and a lot of other people knew that Donald Trump really wasn't an adequate fit for the presidential office. And we knew that. And then this last year has just been just shown how unprepared he was for this. He was not meant or fit to be president. And you can see that in his handling of the crisis and the handling of the BLM movement and who he backs up. So it's important for us to vote to get a president who at least is competent enough to at least try to handle the situation a little bit better. And it's also important for us to vote to just speak up for those who can't vote or need help, uplifting, to help uplift their voices and needs and concerns. So, yeah.
So okay. I know you chose to do early voting instead of voting on election day. Is there a reason for that?
It's really just to give myself some, peace of mind and room to breathe. I wanted to knock it out early so that then I could focus my energy on, spreading information about early voting and voting day and letting people know where the polls are at and how they can go vote. I didn't want to get caught up having to wait till election day and then possibly wait in long lines or, an attempt of voter suppression. I didn't want to deal with that. So I was like, you know what, if I can get it out of the way early, let's get it out of the way early. And that's why I did that. Thank you for interviewing me.
All right. Bye. Thank you. Was this your first time voting?
It's not my first time voting. It's my first time voting in the presidential election, but not in general.
So why do you think it's important to vote this election, or why do you think this election is important?
I think every election is very important to vote in, but especially this one, because with the state of how this country has been in the past few months with the turmoil and just how everything's going, I just feel like your voice needs to be heard and you need to vote this election and vote Trump out.
I know you chose to do early voting instead of voting on actual election day. Is there a reason behind that?
Yes, it's just to get it out of the way and get it over with, because I know usually on election day the lines are extremely long and no matter, you can stay in line for 12 hours and it will take a long time to vote on election day. So I wanted to get it done as soon as possible.
Okay, well, thank you for answering a few questions and letting me interview you. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a really good day. Bye.
Thank you. You too.
Hello, my name is Yanthi. So for the first question, is this my first time voting? No, this is not my first time voting. My first time voting was voting for Obama to take his second term. His first term, I was not old enough to vote. But I think that we should vote because we have the freedom and the right to vote. And to not vote is not using your freedoms accordingly. And if you want to be a part of the change, you have to be actively a part of the system. Is very vital and important because now we're realizing that America has always been America. It has never changed. The system, how it has worked, has always been working, how it's supposed to be working. But now we're starting to see the system, and so that's why voting right now is important, because it makes everyone a part of the very system that they dislike. It makes everyone a part of the system of which they would like to change. So I think this election is monumentous for in September, and I knew I wasn't going to be in Texas as I'm moving. So I couldn't have done early voting because I wasn't in Texas during early voting, which is the only time that you can submit an application to receive an absentee ballot. It was at least almost maybe 2 weeks before I heard back, of which they said that and they told me that they needed the address where I was staying, so then I had to go through another process of doing that again, to which I still have not received a ballot, and it is now election day, and I'm unable to. New York has a lot of cases like this where people submitted their ballots in September and they didn't receive it. So I'm just one amongst many who will not be able to vote due to absentee ballots not being received. So on whatever state you live in, there are requirements of residency. Some want you to live there 6 months to a year before you can claim residency or things like that. So the only way the conflict could have been avoided is if I was physically back in Texas, especially during coronavirus, where many states are not equipped to handle absentee ballots and don't have a system set in place to even handle absentee ballots. Only a few states have done absentee ballot and ballot by mail, but the majority of states are just voter suppression, and our system needs to change because there are hundreds and hundreds upon people whose vote will not count due to voter suppression and due to the lack of organized systems involved in vote.